guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bree if you are new here, and in today's video I'm going to be doing a project pan update. So I'm going to show you everything that's in my project pan basket, the stuff that I have finished up, the stuff that I'm like, I'm gonna get rid of this, and also I'm going to do like a little tutorial, get ready with me using the stuff that's in my project pan basket. So if you guys are interested in hearing how I've been doing on my project pan, seeing what I am currently panning, then just keep on watching. Okay, so I'm going to start off with a little bag of stuff that I have either finished or I've decided that I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that stuff, and I'll kind of talk about why I decided to get rid of stuff and everything like that. So I'm not going to go too into detail on the products that I have finished. I'm just going to show them to you guys, tell them what they are, and then I'm going to put them into my empties basket, and I will go more in detail in that video. But let's just go ahead and get started. Okay, quick little like kind of disclaimer or something. If you guys have seen any of my recent videos, particularly my Shop My Stash video where I kind of talk about like mental health and stuff like that, in that video I completely revamped how I do my face makeup, and ever since then I have been obsessed with it. So that did kind of impact what was going on in my project pan, because I redid my makeup, and then I went back and I tried to just like do my makeup how I had been doing with my project pan stuff, and I was like, it's not working for me. So I've kind of revamped, and I've pulled some new things in, and I've taken some old things out, but I have been really enjoying the products that have been in here, and I've been really enjoying like focusing on them when I'm not filming content. So I'm super excited about that. So there has been some changes. So let's dive into that. I'm just gonna, the bag's pretty full, so I'm just gonna grab and go. The first thing is the AOA Studios like loose setting powder. This is in the shade Soft Light. I actually had very little left in this. In changing how I do my base makeup, I have essentially stopped using loose powders. I feel like they're just getting a little bit too drying on my skin recently. I actually do have a loose powder in here that I have been using, but the AOA one in particular has always just been really drying on my skin, so I was always just kind of forcing myself to use it. So I have Soft Light, which has like a little bit of a tint to it, and then I have Translucent. I have quite a bit more Translucent, but regardless, these were super dry on my under eyes, and they weren't the vibe, you know? So let's just go ahead and get the rest of these loose powders out of the way. I had brought in the Essence My Skin Perfector Loose Fixing Powder to go with the AOA Soft Light on my under eyes. This one also has a little bit of color to it. This one's in Fair. So this one just, in general, never looked the greatest on my skin, so I didn't reach for it. So I was like, let me just toss it in my project pan, like let me just get through it kind of thing, you know? And again, I haven't been loving loose powders, so it's just gonna go. And then last but not least is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Translucent Setting Powder. I don't have a ton left in here. I mean, I've used quite a bit of it, honestly, but it always just looked a little bit drying on my skin. I'm not the hugest fan of translucent setting powders, translucent loose setting powders, because I always feel like they kind of alter the color of my foundation a little bit. Like they tend to darken it or make it like completely devoid of color altogether. So I always paired that with the translucent AOA powder, and I just didn't like them, and that's that. So we've pretty much stopped using loose powders. So essentially all the loose powders that I have over there that are like my in my everyday makeup drawers are more than likely just going to slowly cycle their way into my project pan until I finish them off. I'll probably keep one on hand as like, you know, just something that's good to have, but for the most part it's done. Did finish off the Neutrogena Radiant Cream Concealer. This was in the shade Light. It was always just like a little bit too deep for my under eyes, so I used it to cover spots. And I also finished up the Milani Supercharged Brightening Under Eye Tint in Pink Rose. finished up a NYX Bright Maker Primer. Like I said, all this stuff's gonna get talked about in my empties video, so just kind of going over things that I actually did finish. I mostly finished up the Morphe Filter Effect Soft Focus Foundation. First of all, the lid on this is broken in multiple spots. Like, it's just completely shattered, so the lid doesn't stay on. And it was getting to the point where it was just really difficult to get the product out. And I don't have a ton left in there, so I didn't love the foundation to begin with. And I'm tired of the lid falling off in my basket and getting foundation all over everything, so we're gonna call that an empty though. I also finished off the e.l.f. Camo CC Cream in Light 210N. I still have the lighter shade in my project pan. It's almost gone, but it's still in there. And finished off a e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. This I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of. This is a Revolution, just like brow gel. It didn't do anything for my brows, like nothing. And this was originally clear, but for a while there, I was putting on brow gel after I was putting on like brow product, and so that tinted it, and then also just like foundation and shit got on there, so it's pretty fucking gross, but also it just like didn't do anything at all. I did, RIP, finish up a Becca Backlight Priming Filter. I finally, after years, not years, but after months and months and months of bitching about how fair this was, I finally finished off the L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear Concealer. This was in the shade Porcelain. It was too light for me, which is why it was in here. I was mixing it with like other concealers and shit. So, finish that one off. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of the About Face Light Lock gloss in Such Great Heights. It's a really nice formula, and I really like the smell of it. Like, I really like the smell of it. I just don't, the color doesn't work for me. Like, metallic lip glosses that are super just metallic, like, they just look so fucking weird on my lips. I don't like it, so I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of that one. And then I also finished off, which if you saw my decluttering my backups video, I have way too many backups of this, so thank fucking god I finally finished one up. But I finished up a Tarte Ultra Creamy Shape Tape Concealer. And last but not least, I finally finished up the Too Faced Lip Injection Lip Balm. Like, there's still some left in there, but honestly this shit's so old and I didn't love the formula, so okay. I did a quick count while I was, you know, putting stuff away, and I did finish off 10 items out of my project pan, so I feel like that's pretty good, honestly. But let's go ahead and get into like the tutorial and just kind of talking about everything that's in here. So I'm pretty sure I have one more backup of this, but I am still working on the ABH eye primer. I still do think that this is a really nice eye primer. It's just more involved than the MAC Paint Pot. Like, I have to do more. So like, I have to put it on, and then I have to blend it out with my fingers or a brush, and then I like to go in with a sponge and pick up some of the extra, and like, that's just more work than, you know, like the paint pot is literally just like put a brush in there, put it on my put it on my eyes, tap it out real quick, you know. Plus I find that the ABH eye primer can get like a little pilly. Plus it is just so fucking just bright, you know? Okay, when it comes to palettes, when it comes to eye makeup, I still have, from my first original project pan video, I still have Modern Renaissance in here. I am making quite a bit of progress. I'm gonna still let you guys know right now, the shade right here, Love Letter, is never going to have a dent in it at all, because it has, well, like, is it Love Letter or is it Red Ochre? No, it's Love Letter. Oh yeah, it is Love Letter. You can see my finger pick it up, but like on a swatch or on a brush, it like has next to no pigment in it. I think it's honestly just because the shade itself is really, really old. But overall, that one is probably going to be the only shade left when I finish this palette. And the shimmers probably aren't going to get a ton of love, but I'm doing decent. And then I also still have from my last project pan update video, the ABH Norvina Palette. Again, making some decent progress. I have some new spots and everything like that, but overall, I was starting to get like a little bit of palette fatigue with those palettes, and I was kind of just, as I was going through the process, I was kind of just going back and forth with, do I want to finally just go ahead and get rid of these palettes? Do I want to bring something else in? Or kind of, you know, what's the vibe? You know, like what are my plans here? And I ended up deciding to pull another palette in. Not that it's like this palette's not going to make or break how I feel about the other two palettes. Honestly, it's just like a good staple palette to have in here, and I don't need it in my everyday collection, so I'm going to go ahead and work through it. The other decision that I made is that between these three palettes, and I'll show you the new one in just one second, but between these three palettes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically start almost planning my makeup looks around random cream and liquid eyeshadows that I have, because those are one of the things that in a makeup collection literally go bad or dry out the quickest. So I figured, why don't I, at least on the days that I'm not rushing to get ready, but on the days that I have a little bit more time and I'm just not filming content, so I'm working on my project pan basket, but I still want to do my makeup kind of thing, you know? On those days, I'm going to start doing my makeup based around Super Shocks and cream eyeshadows and shit like that, and then I will just use these three palettes to complement that product. That is not what I'm doing today, because I want to try to stay as true to this basket as possible and not pull anything else in, aside from like the staples that I just genuinely don't have in this palette, because like I don't need two mascaras open kind of thing. But the palette that I did bring in is the Tarte Clay Play palette. So this is what it looks like right here. As you can see, one of the shades I've already completely ran through, but this is a beautiful, just all matte neutral palette. So it's going to be a great complementary palette to whatever I bring into my project pan basket. And the majority of the shades, again, except for that one, and then like I've done a little bit of work on this one, but the majority of the shades are still basically completely in there, so this palette's gonna last me still a really long time, but I'm actually gonna get some use out of it, because this is one of the older palettes in my collection. Still smells good, but it is one of the older palettes in my collection. But I do have a couple other matte neutral palettes. Like I have ColourPop Gone Matte, so I don't need both in my collection, you know? Do I have even the slightest inkling of a plan of what it is that I want to do? No, the fuck I don't. Like I know in my very first project pan video and when I just had Modern Renaissance, I kind of favored a more like orangey golden look, and then in my second project pan video I did like a pink and purple look. So I think I'm honestly just going to favor a more just like matte neutral eye today, and then I'm really just gonna like have the skin and the lips be really, really glowing, you know? That's kind of where I'm at right now. So I'm gonna start off with a big fluffy brush, and I'm gonna go into this top corner here, top shade here, Journey, and just start building that up in the crease. I do love, love, love the formula of this Tarte. Oh, I literally just hit pan on that shade. I do love the formula of this Tarte eyeshadow palette. I have another Tarte matte neutral palette. It's like the Tartelette matte or something like that, and that one doesn't do it for me nearly as much as this one does. That one might get decluttered pretty soon, I'm thinking, because I don't need it in my collection. Like I have this one and I have ColourPop Gone Matte. Like I don't reach for that one, so I just don't think I need it in my collection. I had been kind of going back and forth, been like, is that the palette that I want to put in my project pan? And I'm gonna take a look at it again, because I know it has different shades than what's in here. I might pull it into my project pan for a little while, see where the road takes me kind of thing. All right, next up, I'm gonna go into this big shade down here, Terracotta. I'm also kind of selfishly like not wanting to go too crazy today, and the biggest reason for that is that I actually later this evening I'm filming this video, and then I have like a bunch of like, you know, just housework and shit to do. I need to edit a video, stuff like that, clean a little bit of my house or something like that. And then I have a consultation because I may have booked a wedding next month. Well, you guys are seeing this in September, but I'm filming this in October, but I may have booked a wedding for September, so I have a consultation for that this evening. But after that, I quite literally have to take all of my makeup off and redo it because I need to film for a music video that I am in the very beginning of. So I need to basically redo all of my makeup to kind of fit that theme. Okay, and then, you know, just to spice it up, just because I already fucking have them out in front of me, I'm gonna go into Modern Renaissance, and I'm gonna go into Cypress Umber and just deepen up my outer corners. So yeah, not that my Project Pan makeup is ever like super out there or anything like that, but the easier that this will be for me to take off later, the better. So it actually worked out really well. This was the video I was filming today. And then last but not least, I'm gonna go in with a flatter but still fluffy brush, and I'm gonna go into the shade Instinct and just finish off my lids. This shade has like almost a little bit of a glow to it. It's a very interesting shade. It's like a soft matte almost. I think what I'll do too is I'll take like my inner corner highlight and I'll kind of like go up into my like inner corner crease. All right, I need to turn on the air in this room for just a couple minutes. So I'm gonna jump off and put on a wing. The liner that I have in my Project Pan is the Revolution Renaissance Flick liner. This is a felt tip liner, so it's definitely not my favorite formula. It's very interesting though. Like this has got to be one of the most longest lasting, budge proofiest like liners I've ever had. Like I have to scrub to get this shit off. But it does break down pretty well with like an oil-based liner, but like the shit stays on there. And then I'm also just gonna put on my primer really quick. So I have the last little remnants, like there's quite literally that much left in there. Like I need to bring something else in probably within like either this video or the next. But I have the last little bit of the Becca First Light priming filter, and then I am completely done with my Becca primers except for the one that I have in my my kit. So I'm gonna do that off of camera and I will be right back. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and call it on this. It was literally like just spitting bubbles at me. So I finished this up. I finished up 11 things in my Project Pan. See, my brain wants to be like, you have like 5 gripping primers, use one of those in your Project Pan, but also, again, about 75% of the time that I am doing, like makeup using my Project Pan basket are the days where I don't have a ton of time to like fuck around and play in the makeup. So I just don't have time for what is involved with a gripping primer. So I'm gonna actually grab this. It's really relatively new to me, but it's the xxRevolution Pink Elixir Priming Serum. I got it as like a free gift with purchase from Beauty Bay. I'm kind of really neither here nor there. It's fine. It'll be great for this kind of situation, but I'm gonna go ahead and that's gonna be my new primer, okay? I'm not gonna put it on because I don't need another primer on right now, but that's what we're gonna go with. When it comes to base products, I still have a semi-decent selection here. So first things first, I have it's chip clipped down so that all the products down towards the end, but this is the the Revlon Color Stay Skin Awaken eye brightener. This is the brightener shade. It's another one of those bright eye brighteners that like I'm really just kind of like neither here nor there on it. Like, it is fine. It does the fucking job, but it's not as good as the ones that I have, like, out to use every single day. Okay, and then since I did finish off that Neutrogena concealer that I was using to, like, cover up any spots or anything, I am going to go ahead and use, this has been in my project pan basket since the beginning, but I will, especially on days where I'm like really trying to get ready quickly, I actually will use this as a foundation. It's a great foundation. Like, I'll just do a couple swipes, but today and basically until I finish it, I'm also on fuller makeup days going to use it to do some of that. It's just like a little bit too yellow, and it's not a good tone to use underneath my eyes. So, however, I did quite literally yesterday pick up the new Too Faced concealer, the like, I can't see the box. It's like the Born This Way Ethereal something or other. And as for foundation, I still have the e.l.f. Camo CC Cream in the shade Fair 120N, so this is far too light for me. And since I finished up the other one that is darker, I had to pull in a foundation that is a little bit too deep for me to kind of offset that. So I grabbed the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. This is in the shade Vanilla, and it is just genuinely just like way too yellow and too deep for me, but it is starting to run out to the point where I actually have to hold it vertical to pump it and just kind of shoot my shot onto my little thing. I can't like tilt it sideways. That is one thing that I really like about this style, is it doesn't matter how you hold it, it pumps it out no matter what. So I'm gonna mix those two together. What I'll end up doing pretty soon probably is just taking the lid off of it when I go to use it and just take my like palette mixer and just scoop. Alright, so I just quickly also did my concealer off camera, but for concealer, I know that I have said many times in the past that I do not want to hate pan things. I originally brought this in to use like basically on like, you know, discoloration and stuff like that, but I have just been using it underneath my eyes to use it. But this is the Winky Luxe Peeper Perfect Full Coverage Under Eye Concealer. I've talked about this pretty at length on my channel in a couple different videos, but basically, first of all, it's not full coverage. Like, you can still see darkness coming through underneath my eyes, and that is with a, like, under eye brightener already there. Like, you can definitely see quite a bit of darkness. It just doesn't sit nicely underneath my eyes. It doesn't set nicely underneath my eyes. I'm sure for some people it works great. Hell, I bought this from the I bought this for the testing top-rated drugstore makeup from Ulta, so it clearly works for some people. It does not fucking work for me. How I've been doing my makeup recently, it's not like detrimental, but I don't love it in my everyday makeup routine, so it's in my project pan. And honestly, I may end up pulling in a different concealer to use underneath my eyes and just switch this over to using it on like discoloration once I finish up that the Too Faced one, but that's where I'm at for now. All right, let's talk bronzer. So when it comes to bronzer, it typically goes two different ways for me. So on the days, collect all my things here. So on the days that I am getting ready really, really quickly, what I will do is I will actually take this number 7 Lift and Illuminate press powder. This one is too deep for me, as you can see, but I will take this on like a larger but still dense brush, and I will set the areas of my face that I'm putting bronzer down, and then I will just go in with powder bronzer. On the days that I have a little bit more time, I will use a cream bronzer, and then I will set the cream bronzer with a powder bronzer. So that is how I have been doing my makeup recently, and obviously I have a little bit more time today. So I am going to go ahead and go in with cream bronzer first, and then I will set my face with a powder bronzer. So for cream bronzer, I have pulled in 2 of the same product, just in different shades. These are the Wet n Wild contour sticks in the shade Oaks on You and Call Me Maple. So these are definitely some of my oldest cream bronzers. They definitely are my oldest cream bronzers. So I just need to use them before they start to turn. I had a third shade and I ended up having to declutter it because it was definitely, it had that old crayon smell. So I'm going to start off with Oaks on You. How much of this do I actually have left? Let's take a little peek here. So that's how much I have left. But I'm going to start out with Oaks on You. And I don't like to draw directly onto my skin with a bronzer stick. I like to brush it onto a brush and then tap it in. And then next up, I'm going to take Call Me Maple. Again, how much do I have of this one? A little bit more, usually because I use significantly less of this one. But I'm going to take this one and just kind of deepen up a little bit right back here. Okay, we will come back to powder bronzer in just 1 second. So for cream blush, I have literally the exact same product in the blush category, but these are the Wet n Wild blush sticks. So this one is the shade Hustle and Glow. I have about that much left. And then this one is in the shade Floral Majority. I always feel the need to smell these because I just want to make sure that they're not like turning on me, but I have about that much left. So about the same amount pretty much across the board on all of them. Today I am going to go in with Hustle and Glow. Okay, and while I'm waiting for this setting spray to dry a little bit, let's talk about the powders that I have in here, like the just face powders. So again, I already told you about the number 7 one. Sometimes I will still use that on my skin. I just tend to not because it looks a little bit weird because it's definitely doesn't match the rest of my face. And then for the setting powder that I brought in, I have the Morphe Bake and Set translucent setting powders. So this says it's translucent, but it definitely has a color to it and a little bit of coverage. So the way that I have been using this, and I will show you guys in just 1 second, is I actually take a powder puff and I will work it into the puff and then I will work it into the back of my hand so it's not super loose. And I really love the formula of this loose powder. So it is functioning pretty similarly to a pressed powder for me. So it's fine. It's been fine. It's not my favorite, but like it's been fine. And then when that is all said and done, I take the Physicians Formula Bitter Butter Illuminating Powder and I will just toss a little bit of this on the center of my forehead and it just kind of has a nice glow to it. Okay, so let me show you guys how I've been setting my face and then I will just quickly do it off of camera. So I'll work about that much in and then I will take it on the back of my hand and I will start pressing it in and just really get it into that powder puff. And it kicks off a lot of that excess. So again, I like a powder foundation for this a lot more, but I gotta use these up, so I'm not gonna declutter like 6 loose setting powders. I'm gonna do this off of camera and I will be right back. Okay, so it always looks a little bit weird like immediately after I've set my face because there'll be like spots that are set and spots that are unset. But next up, I'm gonna go in with powder bronzer and set the cream bronzer. So I have 3 different powder bronzers in here, which is a little bit excessive, but they're all small. So first things first, I have this little, it was like a birthday gift, the NARS Laguna bronzer. I tend to use this on days where I'm doing like more cooler toned looks. And then I also have, which I'm not going to use that one today, I also have the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer palette. You can see which one works best for my skin and which one absolutely does not. Typically I will go in with this one and then I will maybe use a little tiny bit of the Sunset bronzer, but this just not for me, and that's perfectly fine. So probably more than likely what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this one off and then I'm just going to declutter this because I don't need the other 2. And then the bronzer that I'm actually going to use today is actually technically a blush, and this is the AOA Studios Perfect Blush, and this is in the shade Fino. So I'm going to go in with this, just because I like this. It's like a very sheer blush, so it works nicely for like setting without getting like too aggressive. I might go in with a little bit of the Physicians Formula one if I need just like a little bit more, but all right. And as for blush, it's literally the same two that I've had this entire time. First one that I have is the Flower Beauty Flower Pots blush in the shade Peach Primrose, which is the one that I'm going to be using today, but I also have, they've both broken, the Essence the blush in the shade Befitting. So Befitting is definitely the one that I use for more like neutral cool tone looks, and then Peach Primrose is for my more warmer tone looks, which is the one I'm going to use today. So I took a little bit of that terracotta shade from the Tarte palette that I used on my eyes and then just smudged that underneath my eyes. And as for highlight, I have two different ones. So I've pulled this one in for days when honestly I'm just gonna do cream makeup, and this is the AOA Studios Velour highlight. This one is in the shade Sometimes. It's a super pretty highlight, a little bit creamier than like a ColourPop Super Shock, but still really pretty, pretty subtle, but very pretty. And then I also have the Pixi Rach Loves Layers palette. So I, you know, this pretty much covers all my bases of everything that I would need for a highlight. Words left me there for a second. And then for today, I'm going to go in with the shade Tea. All right, I am going to jump off and finish up the rest of my face, and then I will be back to kind of show you the last couple things that are in my basket and kind of wrap this video up. All right, so this is the final look. For the last couple things that I have in my basket is a brow product and then lips. So for my brows, I have the Makeup Revolution Soap Brow, which I do really, really like this product. I have just found myself preferring something like the NYX Thick It Stick It like colored brow product. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this up. It's also nice to just kind of have, you know, a little mirror floating around in my basket. And then as for lips, I have four things. I have two lipsticks and then two lip glosses. Lip liners and stuff, I still just use what's in my everyday like makeup thing. But the lipstick that I am wearing today is the Wet n Wild, fucking one of these in, it's the matte version in Never Nude. However, I am gonna go ahead and get rid of this. And the reason why I'm gonna get rid of this is because I went to go kind of, you know, spin it up to see how much I had left, and I realized that it is completely cracked at the base. And I applied it, and then when I applied it, it just scraped off a bunch of the lipstick on the side. So this is just begging to be a disaster waiting to happen. So I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this and, you know, move on from it. And then the other lipstick that I do have is the NYX Shout Loud Satin lipstick in the shade Silk, which is a much more like warm tone lipstick, but I have used a ton of this up. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up. This is one of my absolute like ride or die favorite lipsticks ever, and definitely once I finish it up, I will be repurchasing it. But I've had it for so fucking long, I should give it a smell. Still smells great. All right, but yeah. And then for lip gloss, the one that I'm wearing today, it came with like a free gift with purchase. It was like this little tiny sample of this Ulta Beauty Shiny Sheer Lip Gloss. It has absolutely no shade name whatsoever, so it's this like very pale pink shade. I wear that actually pretty often. And then I also have this little trial size of the Ilia Balmy Gloss Tinted Lip Oil in the shade Tahiti. Another product that's just like really nice to just kind of have on hand, and I will wear it pretty often. Honestly, usually what I'll do is, especially on those days where I'm like rushing to get ready, I'll like maybe toss on like a little bit of something, like a little bit of a lip liner or something on my lips, and then just like while I'm sitting at a stoplight on my way to work, I'll just like, you know, one of those. So that's everything, and that is going to wrap up today's video, and I'm happy. I feel like I have made quite a bit of progress. There are definitely still quite a few products in here that have been in here since the first time I filmed this video in what, January, something like that. So some stuff has been in here for quite a while, but for the most part, a lot of it I have actually worked through or really used it up enough where I was just like, you know what, let's go ahead and just call it on this kind of thing. and actually like made some good fucking progress. So that's gonna wrap up today's video, and yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I do think that I need to start doing this maybe a little bit more often. Okay, so my first project pan that I posted was on January 21st. And then I did a project pan update on May 31st. And then this video is going up sometime in September. I don't know the exact date, but it's today's date. So that's what, a 4 to 5 month gap in there. I think that I maybe want to start doing this maybe every other month. Comment down below and let me know how you feel about that. Do you think that you guys would enjoy to see it a little bit more often and everything like that? Or do you think that maybe just based on what you're seeing in this video, maybe I won't have made enough progress to like actually talk about enough in that video? So that's kind of like where I'm at, is like, am I going through stuff quick enough to justify an every other month video? Or maybe I need to like kind of meet in the middle there and go every 3 months instead of every fucking 4 to 5. But comment down below and let me know how you feel about that. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please subscribe if you have not already. It would mean the world to me. Like this video, ring the bell, do all the things. I hope that you guys have an awesome, awesome day, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!